On a faraway planet called Solara, the Varuni people built their colony around family and tradition. For as long as anyone could remember, families here were large and close. Children were seen as the future, and parents were respected above everyone else. In this world, Lyra always felt alone, even when she stood in the middle of a crowd. Lyra was not like the other Varuni women. She was born healthy and smart, with bright violet eyes and silver hair, but there was one thing missing. From a young age, doctors told her she could never have children. When she was a child, she did not understand why this was important, but as she grew, she saw how others looked at her. Some felt sorry for her, others looked away, and some whispered when she passed by. Lyra learned to walk quietly and keep her dreams small. Her mother and father loved her, but they grew quiet at family gatherings. There were always new babies to hold, and stories about which child looked like which ancestor. Lyra smiled for her family, but the smiles felt heavy, like masks she could never take off. On this planet, humans had arrived only a few years before. They were strong and different, with strange customs and new ideas. Some Varuni welcomed them, hoping for new friendships and trade. Others thought the humans would bring trouble. Still, life had changed for the Varuni, and for Lyra. The changes felt like wind that blew through her quiet days, promising something different, though she did not know what. One afternoon, the Varuni held their yearly festival in the central square. The air was full of laughter, the smell of sweet cakes, and the sounds of children running around the fountains. Lyra wore her best dress, soft blue with silver trim, and stood at the edge of the crowd, trying to enjoy the music and bright decorations. She wished to join in, but old habits made her step back, blending into the background. Then Rovan saw her. Rovan was popular among the young Varuni, admired for his quick jokes and easy smile. He had many friends and was always the center of any gathering. He saw Lyra standing alone and called out to her in a loud voice, loud enough for everyone to hear. Why is Lyra standing alone again? Maybe she is afraid she will catch someone's baby fever, he said, laughing. The crowd went silent for a moment, then a few people chuckled nervously. Lyra's cheeks burned. She felt everyone's eyes on her, judging or pitying her. Rovan did not stop. Maybe she's hoping a human will find her interesting. I heard they don't care if you have children or not, he teased. Some of the younger Varuni laughed louder this time, while the elders looked away, pretending not to hear. Lyra wanted to disappear. She wished she could become as invisible as she felt. Her hands shook, and she pressed them together, hoping the moment would pass quickly. No one came to her aid. No one stopped Rovan. The festival kept going, but Lyra felt like the ground was opening up beneath her. She left the square quietly, moving past the stalls of fruit and flowers, ignoring the music and cheers. She walked until she reached the quiet edge of the colony, where she could hear only her footsteps. She sat down on a low stone wall, looking out at the sky, watching as the sun began to set behind the silver mountains. The light turned everything gold, but it could not reach the sadness in her heart. As she sat there, Lyra thought about her life on Solara. She wondered if she would ever belong. Even with humans now living among the Varuni, she felt more alone than ever. She wished she could change, but she knew she never would. Her eyes filled with tears, and she wiped them away quickly, not wanting anyone, even the sky, to see her cry. Unknown to Lyra, a human soldier named Adam had watched the festival from a distance. He had seen how Rovan spoke to her and how the others reacted. Adam had heard stories about the Varuni and their ways, but he did not understand how someone could be mocked for something they could not control. He watched as Lyra walked away, alone, her shoulders heavy with sadness. Something about her loneliness reminded him of his own time as an outsider, new to this world. Lyra did not see Adam that day. She did not know that someone had noticed her pain. She believed she was truly alone, just as she always had. The sun sank lower, and the sky grew dark. But the hope for something better, however small, remained, like a single star shining in the night. Lyra woke the next morning and stayed in bed for a long time, listening to the quiet sounds outside her window. She felt tired, as if her heart was heavy with sadness from the festival. She thought about staying inside all day, but she knew her mother would worry. So she got up, washed her face, and tried to look normal. She wore her plainest clothes and hoped no one would notice her. Outside, the colony was busy as always. Vendors opened their stalls and children played near the fountain. Lyra kept her eyes down and walked quickly, hoping to avoid Rovan or anyone who had laughed at her the day before. She went to the market, bought some fruit, and walked along the narrow paths between the homes. She passed the small gardens where people grew blue-leaf herbs and stareroot, wishing she felt as bright as the morning sun. While she walked, she saw a group of human soldiers fixing a broken bridge near the river. Most Varuni watched the humans from a distance, but Lyra had always been curious about them. She saw one of the humans, a tall man with short brown hair and kind eyes, smile at a Varuni child who had dropped her basket. He helped her pick up the fruit, laughing softly. Lyra smiled to herself for a moment, thinking how different the humans seemed. Suddenly, Lyra heard footsteps behind her. She turned and saw Adam, the same human soldier who had noticed her at the festival. He greeted her with a friendly wave, and Lyra felt nervous. She was not used to talking to strangers, especially humans. Adam smiled. "Good morning. I saw you at the festival yesterday. Are you all right?" Lyra looked down, not sure what to say. No one had ever asked her if she was all right after Rovan's words. She nodded quietly. Adam waited, not rushing her. After a long silence, Lyra finally spoke. "Thank you, I am fine," she said, though her voice was very soft. Adam walked beside her as she headed home. He did not ask many questions or talk too much. He just matched her steps. Lyra wondered why he was being so kind. Most Varuni would never choose to walk with someone like her. Adam talked about simple things, about the birds he had seen that morning, about the river that reminded him of home, and about the bread a Varuni baker had given him as a welcome gift. He told a funny story about how he tried to eat spicy blue leaf soup and nearly coughed for an hour. Lyra laughed a little, surprised that she could laugh so soon after the festival. She liked that Adam did not try to make her talk about sad things. They reached the edge of her home garden, and Lyra turned to Adam. "Why do you walk with me?" she asked, still surprised by his kindness. Adam shrugged. "Sometimes it's nice to walk with someone, even if you don't talk much. Back home I was new once too. People looked at me like I didn't belong." Lyra felt comfort in his words. She thought about all the days she had walked alone, and she wondered if Adam knew how much his company meant. She thanked him and said goodbye, watching as he returned to help the other soldiers. For the first time in a long time, Lyra felt less lonely. The next day, Adam greeted her again. He asked her about the stareroot flowers growing by her window. Lyra told him how they needed gentle care and lots of sunlight. Adam listened with real interest, asking how Varuni gardens were different from the ones on Earth. Lyra explained the old stories about plants that healed or brought luck. Adam listened closely, and Lyra enjoyed telling him something new. Each day after that, Adam found time to say hello. Sometimes he brought her small gifts from the human camp suites, a soft blue scarf or a little notebook with blank pages. Lyra brought him fruit from her family's trees or showed him how to find wild honeybees by the river. They did not talk about the festival or the hurtful words. Instead, they shared new stories and gentle smiles. Some Varuni saw them together and whispered, but Adam did not seem to care. He greeted everyone with the same friendly way, and soon some children even followed him. Curious about the human soldier who walked with Lyra, Adam made silly faces, showed them how to skip stones, and let them try on his hat. The children laughed, and Lyra saw how easy it was for Adam to make friends. One evening, as the sun set behind the silver mountains, Lyra and Adam sat by the river. Lyra told Adam how she sometimes wished she could leave Solara and see other worlds. Adam nodded and said he missed his own family, but that meeting Lyra had made Solara feel more like home. Lyra felt her heart lighten. She realized that Adam saw her for who she was, not for what she could or could not do. As night fell, Lyra walked home, feeling something she had not felt in years, a small hope growing in her chest. Maybe, just maybe, her life on Solara could change. Maybe she could have a friend. As she looked up at the stars, she wondered what new stories tomorrow would bring. Days turned into weeks, and Lyra began to look forward to every morning. She would wake up wondering what new thing Adam would share or what new story she could tell him. She felt herself changing inside. For the first time, her days were not just empty or sad. She still remembered Rovin's words, but they hurt less each time she laughed with Adam or watched him teach the children to skip stones across the river. But not everyone was happy about Lyra and Adam's growing friendship. Rovin saw them together many times. He watched as Adam greeted Lyra in the market or helped her carry baskets of fruit. Rovin's friends started to whisper, and soon stories began to spread through the colony. Some said Lyra was desperate for any attention. Others said Adam was just being polite. A few wondered if the humans were starting to act strange by spending so much time with the Varuni. Rovin could not hide his anger. One day, when Adam was walking through the central square, Rovin stopped him in front of several other Varuni. "You should be careful, human," Rovin said, his voice low. "People are talking about you and Lyra. They will think you are different too." Adam looked at Rovin without fear. "I don't mind being different," Adam answered. "Lyra is my friend. That is enough for me," Rovin frowned. "She is not like other Varuni. She can never give you a family." "Why waste your time?" Adam shook his head. "There's more to a person than what they can give. Lyra is kind. She is strong. One choose my friends for who they are." Other Varuni who heard this stopped to listen. Some seemed surprised by Adam's words. No one had ever spoken like that in public. Rovin was angry, but he did not say more. He walked away, but his words left a shadow over the square. Lyra heard about what happened later. She was worried that Adam would stop talking to her, afraid that he would listen to Rovin or feel embarrassed by the rumors. When Adam saw her that evening, he smiled and greeted her just as he always did. He did not mention Rovin or the things people said. Instead, he handed her a small flower he found by the river, its petals shining like tiny stars. "Thank you for being my friend," Lyra said quietly. Adam smiled. "Thank you for being mine." As the days passed, more Varuni began to notice how often Adam and Lyra were together. Some people avoided them. Others whispered behind their backs. But there were a few who started to wonder if maybe, just maybe, it was not so bad to be different. A young Varuni woman named Myra, who had never spoken to Lyra before, smiled at her in the market. A human baker started giving Lyra extra bread, saying it was because Adam was always kind to everyone. Rovin felt his anger grow each day. He could not understand why Adam would choose someone like Lyra. He tried to talk to Adam again, this time, when no one else was around. "You could be friends with anyone," Rovin said. "Why her?" Adam looked at Rovin, calm and patient. "Sometimes people need someone to believe in them. Lyra is special, even if others cannot see it." Rovin shook his head and walked away. He could not change Adam's mind, but he wished he could make Lyra disappear. The colony felt smaller to him now, like there was less room for his jokes and laughter. One day, while Lyra and Adam were walking near the gardens, a group of children ran up to them. "Will you tell us a story?" They asked Adam. He agreed, and began to tell a tale about his home, about wide rivers and tall trees that reached the clouds. Lyra watched the children's faces light up. She realized that Adam was not just her friend. He was slowly becoming a friend to everyone who opened their hearts. That evening, Lyra sat with her mother. She told her about Adam and how he never judged her or made her feel less than others. Her mother listened and then hugged her tightly. "You deserve happiness, Lyra," she whispered. Never let anyone tell you otherwise. Lyra slept peacefully that night, dreaming of new beginnings. She knew there would always be people who did not understand, but she was learning that not everyone would turn away. There could be kindness in unexpected places. Sometimes, hope could come from the last person you expected. The next morning, as Lyra went outside, she saw Adam waving to her from across the field. The sun was rising, and for a moment, everything seemed possible. Lyra smiled back, her heart lighter than it had been in years. She was ready to see what the new day would bring. Rain fell hard on Solara, turning the stone paths into rivers and the fields into muddy pools. The sky stayed gray for days, and the wind howled through the colony, rattling doors and windows. It was the kind of storm that made people stay inside, light their lamps, and wait for the sun to come back. Lyra watched the rain from her window. She was used to being alone, but now she missed her walks with Adam and the gentle talks by the river. The world felt smaller in the storm, and her worries grew large. She wondered if the stories about her and Adam would get worse, or if Adam would decide that being her friend was not worth the trouble. She tried to read or help her mother, but her mind always went back to Adam. The next morning, the rain did not stop, and the river near the colony began to rise. People started to worry. The Varuni elders sent word for everyone to move there, animals and store food in case the water reached the homes. Some houses near the river were already flooded. Lyra and her family worked together to move what they could. She saw Adam with a group of humans helping to build a barrier with heavy stones and sandbags. They worked through the cold rain, carrying supplies and calling out warnings. Lyra's house was close to the river, and soon the water was at their door. Her father tried to block it with boards, but water began to come in through the floor. Lyra's mother cried out as some of their things floated away. Lyra ran outside, calling for help. She did not know what to do. Adam heard her voice and came running. Without a word, he helped Lyra lift her mother and carry her to higher ground. Other Varuni followed, helping each other. Adam went back for Lyra's father, who had slipped and hurt his leg. Adam pulled him out of the water and carried him up the hill, never stopping even when the mud tried to pull him down. When they reached safety, Lyra hugged her parents, shaking with fear and relief. Adam checked that everyone was safe, then sat down on the wet grass, breathing hard. Lyra sat next to him. For a long time, they said nothing, just listening to the rain and the worried voices of others. As night fell, the elders gathered everyone. In a large hall on the hill, people shivered and shared food. Some thanked Adam and the humans for their help, but others just watched in silence. The storm raged all night, but Lyra stayed close to Adam, feeling safe for the first time since. The rain began. The next morning, the storm was gone. The sun rose over the flooded fields. People went out to see what was left of their homes. Some houses were broken and gardens were washed away. Lyra's home was damaged, but her family was safe. Adam helped her father walk back down the hill. They worked together to clean up the mud and carry out broken furniture. Lyra's hands were sore, but she did not complain. Other humans and Varuni worked side by side. Some people still looked at Adam and Lyra with cold eyes, but others saw the kindness in Adam's actions. Even Rovan, who had always been quick to joke or tease, was quiet as he helped fix the bridge near the river. That evening, as the sun set and the sky turned pink, Lyra and Adam sat by what was left of her garden. Lyra looked at the ruined plants and felt tears in her eyes. Adam put his hand on her shoulder. "We can plant new ones," he said softly. "It will take time, but things can grow again." Lyra nodded, wiping her eyes. She realized Adam was not just a friend. He was someone she could trust, even when everything felt lost. She thanked him, and Adam smiled in his quiet way. "You are stronger than you know," he told her. As the days passed, the colony worked together to rebuild. Adam and Lyra were always there to help, sometimes alone, sometimes with others. The old stories and rumors did not stop right away, but now some people started to see Lyra differently. They remembered how she had called for help and how Adam had not left her side. Rowan still kept his distance, but one afternoon he nodded to Adam as they worked on a broken fence. It was a small thing, but Lyra noticed. She wondered if people could really change. When the last of the flood water was gone and new seeds were planted in the gardens, Lyra walked to the river with Adam. She watched the water flow and listened to the soft wind. She felt grateful. The storm had taken much, but it had also shown her what mattered most: family, kindness, and the friends who would stand by her side, no matter what the world said. After the storm, the colony was busy with repairs for many days. Houses needed to be fixed, and gardens had to be planted again. People talked about the damage and also about how everyone had helped each other. Lyra noticed that when she walked through the market, more people nodded to her or said hello. Even the children, who used to stare or whisper, smiled at her now. It felt strange, but it also made her happy. For once, she did not feel completely alone. One morning, the Varuni elders called a meeting in the big hall. Everyone gathered there, including the humans. The room was filled with voices and the smell of wet clothes and earth. Lyra sat with her family near the back, and Adam stood nearby with his friends from the human camp. The elders wanted to speak about the future and how the Varuni and humans could work together. But soon, the talk changed. Some people started to whisper about Lyra and Adam. A few older Varuni looked unhappy. They did not like that Lyra and Adam spent so much time together. Some said it was not right, that Lyra should not be so close to a human, and that she should try to be more like everyone else. Rowan stood up. His voice was loud in the quiet room. He spoke about tradition and how the Varuni had always valued families with many children. He looked right at Lyra. Some people forget what is important, he said. Some choose outsiders instead of their own people. Lyra felt the old shame start to grow inside her again. She wished she could leave the room. But Adam stood. Up next, he spoke with a calm voice. I am not from here, Adam said, but I have learned about the Varuni. I know that family is important, but I also know that kindness and loyalty matter just as much. Adam looked at Lyra. Lyra is brave and caring. She has helped me understand this world, and she has shown me what it means to be strong, even when others are not kind. I asked to be her partner. I do not care if we cannot have children. I care about the person she is. The room became very quiet. Some people looked surprised, and others whispered to each other. Lyra could hardly believe what Adam had said. No one had ever spoken for her like that before. Her parents stared at Adam with wide eyes. The elders talked together in low voices. They said this had never happened before, that a human had never asked to be with a Varuni who could not have children. Some elders argued, if we allow this, what will happen next? Asked one. We cannot forget our old ways, said another. But a few younger Varuni stood up and said they agreed with Adam. They thought Lyra and Adam had shown what real friendship and caring looked like. They said maybe it was time for the Varuni to change and to see the world differently. Rowan did not say anything more. He looked at Lyra and then at Adam, but he did not look as proud as before. He sat down quietly, his face red. Elders said they needed time to decide. The meeting ended, and people left in small groups. Some came up to Lyra and Adam and wished them well. Others just walked away. Lyra felt nervous, but Adam smiled and held her hand for a moment. No matter what they decide, I will stand with you, he whispered Dot later that night. Lyra sat outside her house and looked at the stars. Adam joined her, bringing 2 cups of warm tea. They sat together in silence. Lyra thought about everything that had happened since the festival, about all the days she had felt invisible, and about how different her life felt now. She knew some people still judged her, but she also knew that she was not alone anymore. She asked Adam, why did you say those things in front of everyone? Adam answered, because they were true. You are special, Lyra. You deserve someone who will always be on your side. Lyra felt tears in her eyes, but they were not from sadness. She was grateful. She did not know what the elders would decide, but for the first time, she felt like she had a future she could choose. The next morning, the elders sent a message. They would call another meeting soon to give their answer. The days passed slowly, and everyone in the colony seemed to be talking about Lyra and Adam. Some people came to see Lyra and told her they hoped the elders would let her choose her own partner. Even Mira, who used to avoid Lyra, brought her fresh bread and stayed to talk. Lyra walked through the colony with her head a little higher. She knew there would still be hard days, but she was not afraid. She had a friend, and maybe even more. As she walked beside Adam, she felt hope for the first time in her life. The future was uncertain, but it belonged to her, and she was ready to see what would come next. The days after the elders' meeting were long and full of questions. Everyone in the colony talked about Lyra and Adam. Some people said it was time for change, while others wanted things to stay the same. Lyra could feel the eyes of the whole colony on her wherever she went. At first, this made her nervous, but Adam reminded her that she was not alone. He walked with her in the market, helped her repair her garden, and told her stories from Earth to make her laugh. A group of young Varuni came to visit Lyra. They wanted to know what it was like to have a human as a friend. Lyra answered all their questions. She told them Adam was not so different from them, and that he cared about the same things: family, kindness, and hope. The young Varuni listened closely. Some said they wanted to see a world where people were not judged for things they could not control. Lyra felt proud as she spoke. For the first time, others were listening to her, not because of what she lacked, but because of who she was. Adam and Lyra became a symbol of change. People from both the Varuni and the humans started to talk about old rules and if those rules were fair. Some elders were still against the idea of Lyra and Adam becoming partners. They believed that tradition should not be broken. But younger Varuni and even a few older ones saw how happy Lyra and Adam were together. They said maybe it was time to make new traditions, ones that included everyone. Rovan spent more and more time alone. He watched as people started to treat Lyra differently. He thought about the things he had said and done. When he saw Adam working with the Varuni to fix broken roads, or saw Lyra smiling with her new friends, he felt something he could not name. One afternoon, he went to the river to think. He remembered all the times he had laughed at Lyra, thinking it made him look strong. Now, he just felt small. He wondered if he had been wrong all along. One evening, the elders called for another meeting. This time, the room was even more crowded than before. Adam stood beside Lyra, holding her hand. People from both the Varuni and human camps filled the hall, waiting for the elders' decision. The head elder spoke slowly, his voice deep and tired. He said the colony was changing, and that change could be frightening. But he also said that sometimes change was needed to make things better for everyone. The elders asked Lyra to speak. Her heart beat fast, but she stood tall and spoke clearly. She told everyone how it felt to live as an outsider, how it hurt to be judged for something she could not control. She said she was tired of feeling small and alone. Lyra talked about kindness, about how Adam had shown her that everyone has value, even if they do not fit old ideas. She asked the colony to look at her as more than just someone who could not have children. She wanted to be seen for who she was. Her words moved many in the room. Some people cried quietly, others nodded in agreement. Adam spoke too. He said he wanted to build a future with Lyra, not because of what she could give him, but because of who she was. He said the colony would be stronger if everyone could be themselves, without fear. After the meeting, people talked late into the night. Some still held on to old beliefs, but others were inspired by Lyra's courage. Young Varuni especially saw hope in her words. They started talking about new ways to live, where friendship and love were more important than old rules. Next day, Rovan came to see Lyra. He looked uncomfortable and quiet. For a moment, he did not know what to say. Finally, he spoke softly. "I am sorry, Lyra," he said. "I was wrong to mock you. I did not understand. I hope you can forgive me." Lyra was surprised. She saw that Rovin's words were honest. She nodded and thanked him. She said that everyone could change, even if it took time. Adam shook Rovin's hand, and for the first time, Rovin smiled a real small smile. As days went by, the colony changed. More people came to talk with Lyra, to ask her advice or share their hopes. She felt proud and strong. Adam was always at her side, supporting her. Together, they showed the whole colony that there were many ways to make a family, and that kindness was the strongest bond of all. When Lyra walked through the colony now, she held her head high. She saw people smiling at her and knew they meant it. The old sadness in her heart was smaller now. In its place was hope for herself, for Adam, and for everyone who wanted to be seen for who they really were. The day of the final elders meeting came at last. The whole colony gathered in the main square. People stood close together, waiting for the elders to speak. The air felt heavy with hope and worry. Lyra and Adam stood side by side, their hands held tight. The sun was warm on their faces, and a gentle breeze made the flags on the houses dance. Everyone knew something important was about to happen. The elders stepped forward. The oldest elder spoke, his voice carrying across the crowd. He said that the colony had faced many changes. He reminded everyone about the storm, about how people helped each other, and about how kindness had brought them through hard times. He looked at Lyra and Adam. He said their story had made the elders think hard about what really mattered in their world. He said, "We have decided to allow Lyra and Adam to be partners. From this day, they are the first Varuni and human couple to be accepted by the elders. We know this is different, but we hope it will bring good things to our people." A great cheer rose from many in the crowd. Some people hugged each other. A few still looked unsure, but most faces were full of smiles. Adam squeezed Lyra's hand, and she felt a wave of joy stronger than she had ever known. For the first time in her life, she was seen, not for what she could not do, but for who she was. After the meeting, the whole colony celebrated. People brought food and music to the square. Children danced around Adam and Lyra, and some of the elders even laughed and clapped. Lyra's parents hugged her and Adam, their eyes bright with tears. Lyra saw that her mother and father were proud. Adam's friends from the human camp cheered for them and promised to help them make a new home together. Myra brought Lyra a necklace made of river stones, telling her it was a sign of new beginnings. Rovin came forward, a little nervous, and offered his help building their house. He looked at Lyra and Adam and said, "I am glad you did not give up." Lyra smiled at him, grateful for his words and his change of heart. As the days passed, Adam and Lyra began their new life together. They found a small house on a hill with a garden that looked over the river and the mountains beyond. Adam planted seeds with Lyra and helped her care for the new plants. They worked side by side, laughing when the birds stole berries or when the wind knocked over their buckets. Their home slowly filled with things that mattered. Adam's carved wood figures, Lyra's painted stones, gifts from friends, and flowers from both Earth and Solara. People came to visit them. Some wanted to learn how to cook human food, and others asked Lyra about her favorite plants. Children brought drawings for their walls, and Adam taught them songs from Earth. The house became a place where anyone was welcome, where differences were celebrated and stories were shared. Lyra found herself busier than ever. She helped others who felt left out, telling them her story and reminding them that everyone had value. Adam helped repair houses and showed the Varuni how to build strong roofs for the rainy season. Together, they became known for their kindness and for bringing people together. One evening, as the sun set over the hills, Lyra and Adam sat on their porch, drinking tea and listening to the wind. Lyra looked at Adam and felt full of peace. She remembered the girl she used to be, the one who felt invisible and afraid. She was not that girl anymore. Now she was strong, loved, and part of something bigger than herself. Adam smiled at her. "We built something good here," he said. Lyra nodded. We did. And we will keep building for everyone. The stars came out bright and clear, and the two of them watched the night sky. Lyra knew there would still be hard days ahead, but she was not afraid. She had her partner, her friends, and a home that was full of love. The colony was changing, and she was proud to be a part of that change. She hoped that others would find the same courage to stand up for what mattered and to build a future where everyone could belong, and so, under the wide Solara sky, Lyra and Adam began their new life together. Their story was told for many years, reminding all that kindness and hope could change a world, and that sometimes love was the most powerful thing of all.